What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the stream. My first ever live stream. This is exciting. Good to have so many people in. 27. Yeah, I didn't think that there would be many people turning up for this. So, yeah, we're going to use this as a chance to go through some of your questions. Like we can use this model here to up here to have a look and look at the stats and some of the charts to see what's going on. But yeah, if you want questions like versus, so a player versus a player, I can do that, or we can look at like best player in a certain ownership bracket, or best defender, best mid in a price bracket and stuff like that. So if you want to put your questions in, but yeah, like other than that, it's the Villa Newcastle thing. Is that most people are on their minds, isn't it? Like, I've got Martinez and Grealish. If I was you, I would recommend, like, if you own Martinez, I would hold, because I don't think there's any upside in really selling the goalkeeper. And like Aston Villa are going to have 2 double game weeks after this, and I just want to get in early there. I want to keep Martinez. He's gonna. I don't want to waste a transfer. Bringing in a goalkeeper, and he's going to be lined up for those double game weeks. I'll be happy with that. So Grealish is my only other option, and I think I've got three options. I think the priority here is to have 8 outfielders. Sorry, seven outfielders. Can't play 8. But obviously, if you've got Grealish, then you're not playing him. So the priority is to have 7, and there's 3 options. If you've got Grealish, you either play your 8th, who you're going to bench. So for me, that's Brewster. So I'm going to play Brewster. That's one option. I don't really like that. It's Leicester. It's on paper, that's a tough fixture, and he's been subbed on in the last 3 matches. He may not even get a full game. I don't know. Evening Stato. I can't do goalkeepers, I'm afraid, mate. That's the only thing. Sorry. It's only outfielders, defenders, mids and forwards we can get on that. So the other 2 options for me, I think I can either swap Grealish out, and if I do that, I'll bring in Salah and Bamford for Grealish and Kane and get in there early, because I know I want those 2 players long term. Or the other option is just to upgrade Brewster and have 8 sort of decent options, but that means I'm going to have to bench one of them going forwards. And I kind of like that approach, because I tell you who I've got my eye on. Danny Welbeck. He's cheap, so yeah, 5.5 million I think he is. Let's put him in here. Welbeck. Okay. His fixtures are fairly decent. I'll come to your questions in a minute, guys. I'm just having some self-discussion. Cheers, by the way. Good bit. So Welbeck, like, he's cheap enough to like bench going forward. If I just did Brewster to Welbeck, that's $1 million, that's $1 million outlay, and he kind of rotates kind of well with Shea Adams and Bamford. So he's got a really good game week 13 and 14 against Fulham and Sheffield United. And like, I don't really care if I have to bench him in a couple of game weeks. So if I bring him in for Brewster and play him instead of Grealish, then I'll have 7 outfielders, and then I'll just play with 10 men with Martinez. I think that's the move I'm going to go with. So yeah, who have we got in tonight? A man's liking the tune. The tune is Ixon, last summer. He does some pretty good stuff, and it's pretty good for streaming because it's no copyright as long as you credit him. Did anybody ask about Cancelo replacements? Yeah, Cancelo is that really annoying one. It was typical Pep, isn't it? It's absolutely typical. Like, Cancelo was great. He had great attacking stats, and he played 4 or 5 matches in a row, and he just makes him out of favour. As soon as Mendy's back, he puts him in the Europa League. And now people have transferred him in and really stuck, hoping that he plays against Fulham. Yeah, I'm hoping that he plays against Fulham. Otherwise, I've got Masuaku coming off on the bench, and that's not great. But it is what it is. I think I'm going to keep him for the next two, but other than that, I'm going to have to find a suitable replacement. I might bring Trent when he's back from injury. Right, even said, in order to get KDB, I need to sacrifice either one, Vardy or Werner, with the other going in game week 12 or 13. Thought one would be the better hold. Let's have a look. Let's go Vardy and Werner. Vardy. I just really personally really dislike Vardy. Not because he can't score goals or anything. He's great for that, but he's just so unpredictable. I really don't like owning him because I never know when to get off or anything. So you wanna hold next couple. So I think those attacking stats are pretty similar, and those attacking returns pretty similar. Next two, Werner's got Leeds and Everton. Everton have been, I know Everton's marked as red there, but they've been leaking goals left, right, and centre. So Werner's, I'd probably side with Werner because, when Leicester lose to Fulham, that's not a great sign, is it? They do have Sheffield United next, who have been really leaking goals. Let's have a look at that. Just quick defence for Sheffield United. They're right up here, top right. Loads of chances conceded, loads of big chances conceded. No clean sheets in the last 6, so they're absolutely prime for targeting fixtures. I think Werner is the shout. Christian Masuaku, a good choice. Sorry about the delay in me answering these questions, by the way. I'm getting a bit carried away, but Masuaku. I've got Masuaku. I think he's all right. Kufal seems to be the favoured amongst people who know their stuff, but I went Masuaku only, and he seems to be decent. The typical question is Masuaku versus Kufal. West Ham have tightened it up a bit at the back, I think, clean sheets wise. Right, Masuaku, Kufal. Takes a little bit of time to update. I mean, there's not much in it. Kufal's got the attacking returns. Masuaku's got a couple more big chances. I think there's 6 of one, half a dozen in the other, to be honest. Let's have a look at West Ham defensively. Yeah, they're kind of in the middle of the pack here. 2 clean sheets in the last 6 matches, half and half, big chances, small conceded. So they're on the right side. I think Masuaku's a fine shout. I'd bring him in if you had him in mind. Thoughts about Rafinha? Yeah, he seems like a bit of a differential. Yeah, I like him for Leeds. He looked really lively against Everton, man of the match performance. Martinez, upgrade, non-playing goalkeeper. I wouldn't upgrade Martinez. I'd keep him, Peter. I would just play with 10 men because I think transfers are so valuable this time. If you're making more than one transfer, you're taking a -4 to change a goalkeeper, and I don't think that's going to pay off in the long run. Martinez is going to have 2 double game weeks, as I mentioned earlier, so I'd just keep him. I wouldn't waste a transfer. Just treat it as he concedes a couple of goals and gets booked, and it's a 0-pointer this game week. Just treat it like that. Okay, Stato. Lamptey will get Cole Peters. Okay, let's do it. I mean, surely Lamptey. I'm just saying it before I see the result. Surely. Although everyone says that Lamptey's that sort of player that he looks really good, doesn't he? But never any end product. So we'll see. Okay, Lamptey. I mean, Brighton's fixtures, as I went with Welbeck, the Brighton's fixtures are pretty good, aren't they? Fulham, Sheffield United, West Ham in the next... And Southampton and Leicester aren't bad either. Neither is Arsenal. Southampton's fixtures are pretty good too. I mean, either side of the Arsenal and the Man City fixtures. Their attacking stats, they're pretty similar. I'd say Lamptey created a little bit more than Walker-Peters. So, yeah, I think you just got to side with Lamptey, haven't you? He's a little bit more expensive. But I'm surprised to see Walker-Peters more highly owned than Lamptey, 12.2% versus 10.9%. Yeah, it's got to be Lamptey. Right, I need another sip. What do I think about Ziyech? I think he looks good. I think everyone got on him a bit too soon, because he had 2 double-digit hauls, didn't he, straight off the bat? No, I don't think you're expecting too much from him. I think he looks good. I mean, 8.3, yeah. I mean, the problem is at the moment, I think the template midfield seems to be like loading up on premium. So you've got like, normally it's Grealish, but obviously this game week's really tough for that. But you've got people on Son, they want Salah, Fernandes, KDB, they want maybe another City mid, they want Jota. So I can see why people are moving off Ziyech, but I don't see why. He seems really, really creative, and Werner's in more game weeks. Okay, next question. Would you not prefer Watkins, Bamford and Adams as a front line? Yeah, I mean, my intention is probably go Welbeck, Bamford and Adams, because like Saints, so we've got Walker-Peters here, their fixtures, Arsenal, Man City in game week 13-14, whereas Brighton have Fulham and who was it? It was another really good fixture in game week 13-14, so I could play Welbeck instead of Adams and bench him. And I don't really want Watkins because like they're blanking this week, so maybe I'm loading up on the double game week, but yeah, I'm not interested in Watkins. I think Bamford, Adams, Welbeck. I never thought I'd hear myself say that. If you were to free hit this week, asking for a friend, don't do it. If you really, really, really have to, then fine. But free hit's going to be so useful later on in the game week. Later on in the season. I would just keep. I would really just ride it out, however bad your team is. Well, I mean, to a certain extent anyway. Which 3 defenders would you pick? Okay, good question. So let's have a look. Rather than putting in a player, let's just have a look at best defenders. Let's have a look. Take forwards out. Okay. Bulldog. Okay. Maguire. Something's definitely wrong. I mean, I agree with Chilwell for sure. Everyone's got Chilwell. He's excellent. I think the model's going, Bulldogs, 2 big chances. I really like it. So, yeah, no. I would... Yeah, they do maraud forward, those Sheffield United defenders, but I just, I can't believe Maguire's had 12 shots in the last 6 game weeks. That's crazy. Van Aanholt seems a bit busy as well. I mean, I'm finding the defending picks so difficult at the moment. It seems like everyone's got Chilwell, and then they're kind of loading up to Reece James as well. But Chelsea's fixtures are getting really tough soon, so I would only go with 1 Chelsea defender, and I think I might go back for a Liverpool player as well, either Robertson or Trent when he's back, because no one's. I can't believe Robertson and Trent this season have had so underperformed. Maybe to a lesser extent Robertson, because Trent is just a class player. He was the highest scoring defender last season. How has that changed so rapidly? So when he's back from injury, I'm really tempted just to bring him back in straight away and just be even more stubborn about holding on to him and just hope that he starts hauling. And I'm just going to be getting all of those points while everyone is clambering to find budget to get him back in. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously Liverpool's defence is a bit, tough at the moment without Van Dijk, and they're playing players like Nico Williams and Nat Phillips. Although Nat Phillips did okay at the weekend. So, yeah, that was a bit of a long-winded way to say yeah, defenders are a bit of an enigma, and I'm not going to recommend Baldock or Maguire to you. So I'm lost. I'm lost in the woods. Jota versus Mahrez. Let's do it. Jota. I love Jota. He's just such a gem. Thing is, you get on him early, and is it D Jota? I got him in early, and he's been doing so good. Can't spell his name. What's going on? Jota versus Mahrez. Mahrez for me needs to prove himself a little bit more. There's a lot of people jumping on Mahrez, and it's after his hat trick. Of course, everyone raises their heads and goes, "Yeah, Mahrez hat trick, hat trick, hat trick." But he doesn't do it consistently, and he's not necessarily like in the team the whole time. Although I think there was a stat that he started a load of games in a row or something like that. I mean, yeah, if you look on paper, Mahrez does look better, but you are paying a bit of a premium, 8.2 over 6.8. Massive difference in ownership. I think Jota's more likely to start more games than Mahrez, though, which is interesting. But the fixture for Mahrez, of course, is like the Gameweek 11 fixture is great for Mahrez. Fulham at home. And if you want to load up on City players, could be a short-term punt. I just don't think he's going to be doing bits every week. I think he's frustratingly inconsistent, and then he's going to get benched, and then you're going to get frustrated, and then you're going to get rid. So I think Jota, as I said on the Scoutcast, like he's a utility player. He can play in that left wing. He can centre forward, right wing, and he can play at in the centre of that middle three. So personally, I'm happy having Jota, even though the stats for Mahrez in the last 6 look a bit better, apart from the attacking returns. Like he's got 3 goals and assists versus Jota's 4. So you could say Jota was maybe slightly overperforming a little bit. But yeah, and Mahrez hasn't got as many big chances, so that's certainly a consideration. That's probably the biggest stat to worry about as well. Right. Would you do Grealish to Jota this week? I think I would. Yeah. No. I'm going to take that back, because my mindset about I was playing around my team earlier, and I was going, right, would I take Grealish out? Would I do Grealish to Salah and Bamford? And I thought, I just looked at Grealish stats, and I was like, there's no way I'm taking him out of that team. I think on paper it looks great because he's blanking, and Jota is a great pick, I think, regardless. But is there another way to bring Jota in? Is there another way to get another player who could do well this week in? Wolves is a tough fixture for Jota, just in the short term. But then he has Fulham, so maybe wait a week. And maybe would be patient on that one. I think, in the same regard that Grealish is going to have 2 double game weeks with the blank game week 1 fixtures being rescheduled too. That's another transfer that you're going to try and get him back in. So I would just maybe refrain. Grealish and Zuma, I have Chilwell out for Mahrez and Lamptey for a -8. I mean, already that sounds terrifying. Thinking of Grealish and Zuma. I mean, as I said, don't transfer out Grealish. I think if you can upgrade that 8th attacker to someone playable, who's playable but not necessarily too expensive, then I think that's the better option. Zuma is perfectly acceptable pick, hasn't been dropped or anything, and Chelsea's defence is like arguably the best. Let me just recap Chelsea's defence. Let's have a look at Chelsea's defence. It's down here, bottom left. They've had 4 clean sheets in the last 6 game weeks, and they're among the best. It's interesting to see Man United are statistically the best defence in the last 6 game weeks, but they've only had 2 clean sheets, so maybe they've been a bit unlucky. But Chelsea defence, I would stick with Chelsea defenders regardless of their tough upcoming fixtures. So yeah, I would stick. Yeah, for a -8. Yeah, I know. Okay, Mahrez. He's got a good fixture. Yeah, I understand. A -8 just sounds. No, I wouldn't do it. -8 is just too much, I think. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it. Salah this week, -4, be losing Kane, roll transfer, wait till next week. No, I would wait. I think Salah's fixture is arguably harder than Tottenham's. I think, it's the London derby. Spurs Arsenal is always a fiery affair, and Kane's record against Arsenal is pretty good. So yeah, I would keep Kane for one more week, which is what I'm doing, and then I'm going to go Salah next week when they play Fulham. So yeah, I would roll the transfer. Maupay and Grealish in my team, thinking Maupay to Bamford and Grealish to Jota for a hit. Yeah, I would prioritise Maupay to Bamford. I really like Bamford long term. Just have a look at Bamford's fixtures again. Like after Chelsea, they are really good, and I'm rating him. And even though he's missing a lot, where he is, yeah, he's just got the best stats in the league. And I know he's wasteful. But just the amount of shots and chances created is enough to justify having him in your team. Yeah, he's going to miss half of those. He's going to miss half his big chances, maybe even less than that. But that's still, for 6.1 million, it puts him in the same boat as a lot of other premium options. And yeah, he's just worth the money for me. So I'm going to be bringing him in either this week or next week for sure. Like West Ham at home, Newcastle home, Burnley at home, West Brom away, prime fixtures. So yeah, I would prioritise Maupay transfer, and I would bench Grealish if you've got another player. Even if there's not much hope for him, I would just play that other player. DCL out for Bamford and Watkins. Game week 12. Watkins bring in game week 12. It depends if you're bringing Watkins in for Bamford, because I would keep Bamford long term. But yeah, Watkins maybe for the capitalising on the double game weeks. I mean, he's not as great as Grealish, so I would just wait a bit. I wouldn't rush to get Watkins back in unless there's a double game week at some point rearranged. DCL out for Bamford. I would wait. I would wait until game week 12. I think that's probably what you mean. Like, take DCL out in game week 12 when Everton have got tough run of fixtures. Just put Calvert-Lewin in under Bamford. Yeah, so there's a perfect fixture swing there. The DCL's got Burnley away this week, and then you can move him on to Bamford in game week 12 when he's got West Ham at home. Yeah, I like that move. But I wouldn't worry about Watkins. Just best sub 5.5 defenders till game week 16. I worry if I put this back in, it's going to say Baldock and Maguire. I know that Andy, Let's Talk FPL, is going to love this model, suggesting Maguire, but really? Although it did surprise me that he's had 12 shots. They might be headers, for example, from free kicks and stuff. I'm struggling with defenders. Like, if it was my personal, just perceived best defenders, I would probably just go either Chilwell, James, then probably Robertson, maybe, and then just someone like Lamptey, who's just, I mean, I'm sure he's due a return at some point. He just looks so good, and he's had a bit of a rest as well with that suspension. So maybe those three. I do like Dallas as well, or Ayling, but and Leeds have good fixtures coming up. But the problem with Leeds is I think they're overperforming a little bit. Let's just have a look at their defence again. Like, they're up here, top left. They've got 3 clean sheets in their last 6 game weeks, but they're conceding a bit too many big chances for my liking. So I think they're going to regress a little bit. I think they've got a bit fortunate. So yeah, I mean, but Dallas has that attacking threat as well, so maybe it's okay. Mane, Stevens and Kane for Bruno, Jota and Jesus for a -4. Crikey. Mane, Stevens and Kane. I wouldn't... Bruno, Jota and Jesus. Yeah, I mean, that does sound quite good, actually, thinking about it. I just, transferring Mane out doesn't seem logically great, but I think I think you've got so many options in that attacking Liverpool team. Jota, Salah, even Firmino. His stats have got better recently. Yeah, I quite like that move. For a -4, yeah, I'm not normally one for suggesting hits, but that you've got 3 players for 2 basically. That's Stevens' move. You don't really play him. Yeah, I mean, it depends if you've got Son. Have you got Son to back up that Kane move? Although I think Spurs have been dropping off recently, so I think it's fine. I would do that, I think, if I were you. Who would you bench out of? Ayling, Taylor and Bissouma. I would bench... Who Burnley got? Who Burnley got this season? This game week, sorry. Taylor. Maybe it's Charlie Taylor. Everton. No, Everton are going to score in that one for sure. Yeah, I would bench Ayling first, I think, and then... Yeah, and then probably Bissouma and then Taylor, I think. Should I play Jesus and Mahrez or Mahrez and Walker or Jesus and Walker? Jesus and Mahrez, for sure. That seems strange. I can't get my head around those permutations. Yeah, always the outfield players, I think. Because, Fulham looked all right against Leicester. They scored 2 goals. It was no easy feat. So they could get a goal against City. Who knows? Pulisic's conclusion. The squad mate Ziyech plays deeper. Now, I don't think, because Ziyech plays on the right, doesn't he? Cuts in and crosses in into the left. Whereas Pulisic will play on the left. And that might do a shift in personnel when Abraham might get dropped and Werner play centre forward. So I don't know how that's going to affect. It might even make Ziyech a better option because Werner's going to be in the middle. Although maybe Abraham's heading ability is a little bit better than Werner's. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Ziyech though, with Pulisic particularly. He's not going to get dropped. Play Sterling and Foden this game. We'll move away from them already. Definitely not. Don't move away from them unless you're going to bring in KDB. And it depends, the state of your other team. The state of your team. If you've got a free transfer to use and you haven't already used it, I would do Sterling to KDB. But there's a big chance that Sterling plays. I know Pep's comments weren't exactly complimentary, saying that Sterling needs to score to be on the pitch to start games and whatnot. I think he'll probably start though. He needs a league start. I mean, Torres hasn't exactly been setting the world alight, so yeah, I would hold on for this game week, and if Sterling doesn't play against Fulham, then I'd probably move him on. Captain Vardy or Fernandes? That's an interesting one. Do you not have a City player? Because City player, they're playing Fulham at home. I mean, it's very difficult to look past. But Vardy or Fernandes, I'd probably go Fernandes. I think he's got West Ham away, doesn't he? So yeah, I would go for him. And I mean, Fernandes' stats are head and shoulders above the rest. I posted this chart earlier on Twitter, I think early in the week, and he's got the most chances created out of everyone. He's got the second highest goal attempts out of everyone. So he's just blowing it out of the park at the moment. So yeah, I'd captain Fernandes. Would you do Martinez to Ryan or Kane to Vardy, Jesus this week? Yeah, I wouldn't waste a transfer on Martinez, as I said earlier. So I would keep him and just play with 10 men because I think he's going to be useful later on in the season. Obviously, there's a chance that Ryan gets points, but you just don't know that. And you're taking a -4, presumably. It doesn't say that. Maybe you've got 2 free transfers. But yeah, I would just keep Martinez. He's got 2 double game weeks, and you don't want to waste a transfer on goalkeepers. I always think that. The upside is just not enough. So Kane to Vardy, Jesus, maybe, but I think Kane could do well against Arsenal. As I said earlier, Tottenham Arsenal's always a fiery affair, so I would just do it. I don't think either of those transfers are worth it. I would maybe I would keep them and maybe look to do something else. Aravin, very kind, thank you. Kilman, Streak, Konsa, which is 3 out of 5 defenders who might not start. Kilman might not. Has Konsa been dropped? I thought he was a staple in that back line for Villa. 3 million in the bank, so I think you're getting City defender Walker Mendy. I wouldn't recommend going for a City defender, to be honest, at this point. Cancelo is being rotated with Mendy, Diaz, Laporte, and Stones. It's pot luck which out of those three are going to play. And Walker, I mean, does he get rotated? Maybe Walker's the safest. I can't remember whether he gets rotated or not, but maybe he's quite expensive, isn't he? Something like 6 million. Let's have a look. Walker. He does score the occasional goal. He's just not amazingly creative, is he? 6.2. I don't know. Like earlier, I would have recommended the 5.5s, Cancelo and Diaz, but I hate the rotation. I hate owning Cancelo now. It's such a disappointment. I wouldn't go near a City defender. I would just focus your attention on City mids, City attackers, if you really want to do, put all your eggs in one basket. 3 million, yeah. I don't know. I maybe would go Robertson or... There's no really premium defenders. I'm struggling to say like which are the best defenders. I really want to get back on Trent, as I said earlier. I need confirmation that he's fit though. Yeah. Who's next? Who is next? Okay. What would your free hit team be if you had a triple Villa and Wilson? Who have the best fixtures? I need my fixture chart somewhere. Where is it? I'm going to log on to Twitter. Who have the best fixtures? Saints against Brighton, City against Fulham. So I'd triple up on City attack, maybe De Bruyne for sure. 100%, I'm probably captain him. I mean, I've captained De Bruyne in my team. Jesus, yeah, Aguero's not quite back. I'd probably put Jesus in. Yeah, and Mara's the man in form. Yeah, just for a short-term pick. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Man United are in good form. Maybe like a defender against West Ham and Fernandes. Chelsea Leeds. I mean, that's a tough fixture, isn't it? I mean, even though I've got it as green. And I think even Spurs against Arsenal's all right. Palace against West Brom. You could plump for Van Aanholt. He's been showing some good underlying stats. And maybe Zaha, because he's been out a couple of weeks with COVID stuff. So, yeah, he could be a cheeky punt. Everton against Burnley. Yeah, I mean, City battered Burnley, didn't they? So there's no reason why Everton can't. And I'm worried, actually, not being a DCL owner, because Burnley could get thumped by Everton. I know their fullbacks are out, Dina and Coleman, but Richarlison, James Rodriguez, yeah, I don't know. Leeds beating them does put me off a little bit, but West Brom, I know that's Palace, Burnley, sorry, is a good fixture nowadays. So maybe involve some Everton, some Palace. Yeah. Do you think getting Salah in next week at the expense of a strong bench will be worth it in the long run? Next week, yes, 100%. I'm worried about that Fulham fixture, which is why I will probably be taking a hit to get Salah in next week. Yeah, but I think there was a really interesting thing about Josh, who won Fantasy Premier League last season. He did this really cool presentation at the start of the season, and one of his results was the teams that have the most premium players tend to do the best, right? Rather than spreading the funds, as we all think. So, yeah, getting Salah in, because you're going to be able to captain him most weeks, I think he's worth it. I think that's the way my team is heading. I'm going to end up having De Bruyne. At the moment I've got De Bruyne, Kane, Son, and Fernandes. That's kind of 4 heavy hitters, but I'll probably end up moving away to 3 or 4. So maybe Fernandes, Salah, and De Bruyne. I think quite a lot of people edging towards that sort of thing. So yeah, I think Salah is definitely worth it for the lack of flexibility with your team. You'll be able to sort that out in the long run with other fixtures going forward. With other transfers going forward. So yeah, Salah, make that a priority for Game Week 12. Game Week 11 and Fulham, sorry. No, it is Game Week 12. Yeah, I was right. Is Abraham a good replace for Vardy or Calvert-Lewin? Yeah, he's certainly a punt. His stats are okay. He's 7.2, isn't he? Yeah, he's okay. Let's have a look. Not many big chances. And I do worry that he might be rotated when Pulisic comes back. Because if Pulisic comes into the team, and you've got Mount in the centre, Ziyech on the right, and Werner maybe moves up top, if they continue to play like a 4-2-3-1 formation, that does worry me about Abraham. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets dropped. But he has started the last, I think it's 3 or 4, so like on paper he's a good pick. But I think there's more value in the cheaper forwards, like the Bamfords, the Adams, the Welbecks. I can't believe I'm saying that. Yeah, and maybe above it. And there's a lot of options in midfield that I would maybe focus over Abraham. I don't know. He kind of the rotation does put me off though. Your defence chart sold me on a Brighton defender. I like it. Yeah, they are underperforming though, for sure. Like they've only got 1 clean sheet in the last 6 game weeks, but they are, they're good stats. But they've had good stats the entire season. They do concede a little bit more big chances than I'd like, but they seem to be underperforming. So it must be something fundamental with that defence. They tend to just be a little bit leaky. The ability of their players is maybe just slightly worse than those. Like if you compare them to the Man City, the Man United, the Chelseas, which they were close to in that chart. So yeah, I mean, Lamptey's probably the only pick that I would go for. He's got some good attacking stats, which is what I would probably hope for more than the clean sheet. But certainly, those stats are going to help the possibility of Brighton improving the number of clean sheets. So yeah, I like that move. I don't have any Brighton defenders myself, but Lamptey's going to be one of those players that I don't think I've ever owned this season, but I really, really like to have, but I've never had the chance to bring him in. With Mendy back, is Cancelo no longer a good option? Yeah, I mean, I was talking about that earlier. Like, I hate owning someone who I think is going to be rotated. Like, I don't have any faith he's going to be playing against Fulham. It's so annoying that if I had unlimited transfers, I'd transfer him out. There's no question. But it's just so typical of Pep, isn't it? He played 4 or 5 game weeks in a row, excellent attacking stats, and Man City's defence was getting much better. And then Mendy comes back, gets a goal, and Pep's like, oh yeah, you need to score to stay in this team. Like, so annoying. I'm going to keep the faith for 1, maybe 2 more game weeks just because I kind of have to with the other transfers that I've got planned. But I'm not a happy owner, let's just say that. Yeah. Kieran, Cancelo, it's exactly the same, mate. I don't know. I would just keep the faith, maybe a couple more game weeks, and then move him on. Worth taking a hit to bring in Salah next week. 100%. Target the fixtures. Salah, Fulham, everyone's captaining him, aren't they? So -4 will probably be made up. I mean, you could arguably say he's a triple captain choice, but I would save your triple captain for your double game weeks. But I mean, if people like to captain players in single game weeks, it's that good of a fixture, I'd say. Even though Fulham have just beaten Leicester, I'm just going to treat that as an anomaly. And, they haven't been great previously. So, yeah, definitely bring in Salah for a hit, even if it costs you a hit. Morphy to Bamford move, yeah, I like that, for sure. Morpie, yeah. Missing a penalty, feigning an injury, it just sounds tragic, doesn't it? I prefer Welbeck to Morpie anyway. On my double Chelsea defence, their fixtures aren't great. Yeah, I would keep Chelsea defence. Like, I don't think fixtures make that much of a difference to change a really good informed defence. Isn't it Mendy scored like 9 clean sheets in his last 11 or 12? That's insane. So, yeah, I would keep Reece James. Yeah, he just loves to cross that ball in. Not really any end product, but I mean, one of those has got to be converted into a goal at some point, doesn't it? So I'm quite happy with double Chelsea defence. Yeah. the fixtures aren't going to make that much of a difference. Yeah, Man United, their stats do look better. They do, yeah. But, I mean, you've got Tellez, or as my stupid model is saying, Maguire. So, I don't know. I would just keep the faith of the Chelsea defence for the time being. I wouldn't let those fixtures swing you too much when you probably have other stuff in your team that you need to focus on. So, yeah, Leeds attack is great, but they're underperforming at the moment. So I'm going to treat that as a positive and hopefully see the number of goals improve. I did my video earlier in the week and I was like comparing Newcastle and Leeds, and the contrast between the number of chances they created was so huge. Even though they scored the same number of goals. So I really do expect Leeds to start scoring a little bit more because their stats are great. Keepers Martinez, Mendy. Yeah, I mean, envious of that. I would just be playing Mendy. This week anyway. Although you do have a lot of money tied up in the goalkeeper position, which is kind of a pet peeve of mine, because you could be using that extra money to fund the rest of your team. So I think maybe once Martinez has the prospect of additional double game weeks coming up, maybe a move away from Mendy. I don't know whether you've got your wild card still or not. Right, so Zuma, Chilwell, Dallas, Peters, Mendy from City. I wouldn't transfer in Mendy because he could easily be dropped like Cancelo was, and then Cancelo's back in. It's the uncertainty that frightens you. For Zuma, as I have triple Chelsea defender. Triple Chelsea defenders, that's mental. I mean, if it's working for you, just go with it. Thinking of taking out Grealish. Getting back though. Prefer James Ward-Prowse or Rafinha. I wouldn't transfer him out. As I said earlier, I would just bench him. I think my favoured is upgrading your 8th attacker to someone mid-price that you don't mind benching, and just bench Grealish. Well, play him, and if the fixture's rearranged to next week, then he's going to be swapped in for that player. But yeah, out of James Ward-Prowse and Rafinha, let's do it. Ward-Prowse. Problem with Ward-Prowse, he scores these worldy goals, and part of me goes, oh yeah, he can't keep that up, can't keep the rate of returns up, but he seems to be getting better at it. Excuse me. Rafinha. Don't think I've spelled Rafinha right. Or Ward-Prowse. Oh no, it has come up. I can't get Rafinha up for some reason. Yeah, the problem with Ward-Prowse is that he just scores these wonder goals, and I don't think it's consistent. But 6 attacking returns in the last 6 from those stats, it just I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. It just seems like all the points have already gone. The stats do not back up. Yes, he's great. He's a great free kick, but yeah. The problem with Saints, there's another thing, actually. Let's have a look at their attacking stats. I did say this earlier in my video, that Southampton, are down the bottom there with West Brom, West Ham and Arsenal. They've got 14 goals in the last 6 game weeks. 14! That's more than any other team. And their stats aren't great. And it's like the likes of Ward-Prowse converting these assists and goals that just seem like they probably have a low XG. They're not going to be replicated too often, so it just screams like they're going to regress. Southampton with a number of goals. They're a great team, great outfit. They're in form. I just don't think that they're going to keep up the level of returns. I think Rafinha looks like a really good, exciting option, and these have got really good fixtures coming up. And I think they're underperforming, so I think I would go for Rafinha. What a long-winded... That's what you want from my streams. You want long-winded... God knows what's going to happen when there's more people in here. because the comments are going to race past and I'm not going to answer them. But at least you guys get to me answering all of the questions. Did Saiss, Grealish and Sterling to Jota? Presumably Reece James or James? Saiss, Grealish... No, that's James. Saiss, Grealish and Sterling to Jota, James and KDB captain. I like that. Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I wouldn't, as I said earlier, I wouldn't advise selling Grealish, but that combination of moves does look pretty good long term. You'd have to try and find a way of getting Grealish back in, but yeah, I mean, it's a nice little mini wild card almost, isn't it? Sterling's a problem, Saiss is a problem, and Grealish is a short term problem. So yeah, especially when you're bringing in KDB to captain, I think that covers the -4. Need help? I have triple Villa, Martinez, Grealish and Watkins and Sterling. Yeah, so as I said, I would just keep Martinez. I would just play with 10 men. It depends what your bench looks like, because you can always just play the bench players. Like for me, I've got Brewster, I've got Masuaku. Playing those players, hopefully they'll get a couple of points each, and that will be fine. It's not worth things like -4s and -8s to get these players out. So yeah, and Sterling is a problem, isn't he? But I would just cross your fingers that he's going to play against Fulham, and you never know, he could absolutely romp. You know, it'd be typical Sterling, wouldn't it? To be dropped the last couple of games and then come back and score a hat-trick against Fulham. So I would keep hold of him. You know, it's only 1 week you have to deal with the Aston Villa players, and then you've got, you know, the forward sight of having the excitement of having the double game weeks, 2 double game weeks potentially for Villa. So yeah, I wouldn't go mad with the hits. I would play the bench players you usually play. And if you need to make one transfer, then I would probably prioritise maybe Watkins to Bamford or another cheap forward. I'd keep Sterling and play him. No attacking fullbacks. Everton's game plan is ruined. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I mean the creativity is going to be lesser for Calvert-Lewin, because that's one of his avenues. Crossing from the left from Digne has been, you know, he's got a couple of goals from that in the couple of recent game weeks. So he's certainly going to miss that for sure. But I think Richarlison and James, yeah, they've got enough creativity between them. So I think Calvert-Lewin's going to be okay. It's the fixtures that are going to cause the issue as well. So yeah, I think a lot of people will move off DCL. But there's a lot of options, luckily, for people to jog on. So Jota for Ziyech this week. Jota for Ziyech, as in bring in Jota. Who have Chelsea got? Leeds. I would wait. Yeah, I think, you know, even Leeds have got a few clean sheets. I think they've been overperforming. So Chelsea could get a few goals against Leeds. So I would wait, because Pulisic could come into that team and change the dynamic. And, you know, they could do well against Leeds. Leeds at home, it's a decent fixture. I would wait 1 more week, because Jota at Fulham, yeah, for sure. It's a great fixture. And you never know, Jota might get dropped this game week for some reason, and then he puts you off. So, yeah, we'll see. What to do with Grealish and Jimenez? Jimenez is obviously a sell, poor chap. I mean, I'm going on about Bamford, but maybe wait and see Danny Ings is back in. I mean, Hassan Hootel said Ings is potentially fit again, along that price bracket. Or you could go to Werner or something. I mean, it seems a bit of a gap between the forwards, isn't there? There's the Kanes and there's the Vardys, and then there's the Bamford, Adams, all in the 6.5 sort of range. I would keep Grealish, play your bench, move Jimenez on to someone. Big fan of Dunk. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't shown it this season, I don't think, but I think Lamptey's the best pick from Brighton. For those of us who don't have our wild card, yeah, me too. How do we navigate the blanks and double game week in 18? Well, firstly, we need the fixtures to be announced so we can plan. But potentially you could use your free hit on one of them, but it's usually quite useful for later on in the season. With the blanks, you could free hit, and then you could just build your team up for the double in 19. But it just really depends on the extent of the amount of teams that blank and the amount of teams that double. So my advice would just be make sure that you build up your team to target either the blank or the double, and then depending on how many of the teams are covering in the double and the blanks, you can either use your free hit if you're really struggling, but I think there's probably going to be 5 games that go ahead in that blank game week, and potentially there'll be more because there might be the blanks from game week 1 that get rescheduled then, so it may not be that much of an issue. We just need the fixtures to be announced and then we can start planning. So much cleaning up to do. So I'm thinking Mane can match Salah. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, there's no reason why he couldn't. Liverpool seem like pretty free flowing. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a differential. You'll be absolutely laughing if he hauls against Fulham and Salah blanks or something. But that's the risk. That's the risk you're taking. Salah's going to be heavily owned and captained. If he does well, you're going to really fall in rank. So it's not so much being stubborn and being looking for those differentials, but it could really pay off and your rank goes all the way up, or it could really burn you and your rank goes really down. So it really depends whether you want that much volatility resting on your game week. Best change for Cancelo. Yeah, it's tough. Maybe, I mean, if you don't have Chilwell or James, yeah, but their fixtures getting tough. I don't know. I'm going to look to get back a Liverpool defender at some point. Even with Van Dijk, Alisson makes a huge difference in goal. They got their clean sheet last week. They show they can get clean sheets. Maybe I would wait a couple game weeks for Cancelo, see who's back fit for Liverpool, and I would swap in for one of those lads. Whether Nat Phillips gets a run in the team, you could save some dosh, downgrading him to him, or go for a Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. That would be my pick. That's my plan anyway. It's my long-term plan. But that won't happen for 2 or 3 game weeks. No matter what I do, I can't get to the top 1 million. I mean, I felt like that earlier as well. Earlier in the season, I was bouncing between 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million. I couldn't get into the 1 point, so I completely empathise with that. I think you just got to keep doing what you're doing, picking the picks that look good on paper, and they're bound to work out at some point. Two Free Trant says Martinez with no backup, Grealish and Wilson. Yeah, I would keep Martinez and Grealish. Wilson is either probably the biggest problem because Newcastle could miss that West Brom game. That's 2 game weeks in a row, potentially. So if I was betting on one of them, I would transfer out Wilson for someone within that price bracket. Bleating on about Bamford, but yeah, Bamford. McCarthy versus Meslier versus Martinez. And obviously Martinez is out of the question this week. I do like the Meslier pick because Leeds fixtures are pretty good. McCarthy have good fixtures too. Yeah, I think Leeds are overperforming defensively, so I'd probably go McCarthy out of all of those. Who do I support? I'm a Liverpool fan. Can't you tell by the accent? How are you doing? Can't believe I just did that. Although I did tell you, I was in my final year at uni, and that Gerrard slip year, I was in a house full of Chelsea fans. That was not a good time to be a Liverpool fan. Yeah, no, that was bad times. Best replacement for Jimenez, preferably cheaper than him. Okay, let's do it. Let's do... Who's the best forward? And it's going to come up with Bamford, isn't it? But let's do forward and let's cap. How much is Jimenez? He's probably about 8.5, something like that. So let's cap it. Cap it 8.5. Let's remove Ward-Prowse. And Rafinha. Right, I love this about this model because Bamford's going to come out because he's got the best stats, but McBurney, he's got 7 big chances in the last 6, but he just can't score, so ignore McBurney. But the stats, this model loves McBurney because he's doing great on the stats. Why we wouldn't go near him with a barge pole. DCL's coming up next, but as we say, Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal. They're not the worst fixtures ever, but Man City in what's that, Gameweek 16, I think that is. That's a bad fixture. I wouldn't rush to get off DCL just yet because the options here, they just don't fill me with confidence. Mitrovic, Morpie. As I said, there's a massive gap between that sort of price bracket, 8.5 and above, and the cheaper ones, like the 6.5s of this world, the Adams. I quite like Adams. I think Adams is a better option with Ings in the team. And got strange options like Welbeck. I'm plump for him. Best replacement, yeah. Sell Robertson for Diaz? Absolutely not. Keep Robertson, absolutely fine. I think Robertson, he's always going to be creating chances. Liverpool start getting a run of clean sheets together, you'll be laughing. Cancelo to Lamptey or James? A double up. You've already got Chilwell. Yeah, I'd probably go Lamptey. I reckon this is his time. I'd go Lamptey. What are your thoughts on Harry Kane? Is he worth keeping all season? I'm so happy for Harry Kane, the fact that he's got stats to back up having him, because I remember the last couple of seasons, people have gone, yeah, we're going to get Harry Kane in, and it just hasn't been it's been like a legacy pick because he was great in the past. He never had the stats to back it up, but this season he's been superb. Last few game weeks have been a bit of a struggle, but maybe that's down to the opposition. And Son hasn't been great in great form either. So I think those two have a bit of a partnership, aren't they? So when they work together well, I think you need both of them. So I think that's why a lot of people are getting rid at the moment. And their fixtures, they're not great. Who have they got? Let's put this in. Son, Kane, Bale. No, absolutely no chance. Son and Kane. Arsenal home. That's an amber fixture, but for me, they can easily get a couple goals there. Palace, exactly the same. Liverpool, that is obviously tough, but Liverpool's defence, they've been leaky. Leicester, Wolves, and then you're going to want one of them back to Fulham. Fulham at home. Everyone's targeting the Fulham at home fixture. So, yeah, on paper, if you want to keep Kane, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I'd keep him if you want to. Welbeck or Adams? If I had to pick, probably Adams just sneaks it, I reckon. But Welbeck, let's have a look. Let's just refresh this. Welbeck, I think he's only started the last three in a row. So whatever stats he has are going to be limited by the number of game weeks he's played. So potentially he's the better pick. He's got more big chances than Adams. Not nearly as much attacking returns. Adams is having a lot of shots. They're small chances though. So yeah, I agree. Welbeck could be a bit of a shout, and that's why he is my consideration for Brewster. upgrading Brewster to Welbeck. I don't mind mentioning going forward. Southampton at home. Yes, Southampton are in good form, but they're conceding those goals. They conceded a couple against Man United, didn't they? So, yeah, I have high hopes for Welbeck. I like his game week 13-14 fixtures, Fulham and Sheffield United, for sure. Right. Should I sell Neto for Rafinha? Surprisingly, I think Neto is like one of the best for midfield, like mid-price options. I know he's budget, isn't he? Just have a look at these budget options for midfield. I'll restrict it to under 8.5, but I reckon Neto comes up here. So he's like one of those people that one of those players that no one ever really considers. Maybe I need to go cheaper. Not responding. Jota. I probably need to go slightly cheaper, I reckon. So under 7 or something. Who's the best player under 7? Maybe I'm just completely lying to you all. I swear I saw Neto earlier in the week. Podence and Neto. There we are. Neto's got more attacking return, doesn't he? But his stats are pretty similar to Podence. Like, everyone's getting rid of Podence. Yeah, I don't know. Rafinha hasn't been playing that many games in a row, I don't think. So I think Rafinha's a bit more of a punty move. Wolves don't tend to score that many goals, that's the other thing. And with Jimenez out, that kind of puts me off Neto a little bit. So, yeah, I probably would do it. And Rafinha, yeah, I think Leeds do look good. Do you think you can get away with Jota instead of Salah? No. Absolutely not. I think Salah's best pick for Fulham at home. He's going to be heavily captained. I would just get him in, even if it's for a hit. Free hit this week because of Diaz, Justin Wilson and Grealish. No, I'd really save that free hit. That free hit is worth more in the double game week or navigate in the blanks and doubles. I would play whoever's on your bench, even if they're a rubbish pick. And like Diaz, I think he's got a great chance of starting. Justin might have a couple more game weeks. Pereira is back potentially, but he's not match fit. He's going to take a couple more game weeks to get into ship shape. So Justin, I think, has another couple of game weeks more in him. Wilson and Grealish, obviously, they're a bit more of trouble. I would transfer out Wilson because there's a double chance he'll miss 2 game weeks. I would bench Grealish. Lacazette. I mean, that's a player I haven't heard anyone discuss Lacazette before. Let's have a put him in. Arsenal, they're just a bit rubbish at the moment. No, look at those stats. Hardly any shots. Hardly anything created. Tottenham, yeah, they've got great fixtures either. Let's just have a look at Arsenal's attacking. Yeah, they're down here. I mean, they're like arguably 4th worst for attacking stats. Only 2 goals in the last 6 game weeks. I wouldn't touch Lacazette with a barge pole. I love Podence. Yeah. He's alright. Have a look at his stats again. I mean, I wouldn't go near him, but yeah. Tellez starts, Shaw back in training. Still, Tellez has done alright, hasn't he? I mean, Man United's defence, since he's come in, has improved. Like, look at those defensive stats we saw earlier. They were alright, weren't they? So, is really Shaw going to come back in? Maybe he's, the reason for their, they're troubled. Well, actually, I wouldn't put it down to that. But Tellez has done alright, so I don't think he's going to get dropped in the near future anyway. So, where Cancelo doesn't play, I go down to 10 men. My midfield is KDB, Bruno, Grealish, Jota, Ziyech. So very similar to mine. I could get Grealish back in for next week. I think that's fine. I would just play, as I said, I would just play your bench, even if they're a bit rubbish like mine, Brewster, Masuaku. Just play those. They're going to get a couple of points. So yeah, I think you just got to suck it up. I think it's one of those game weeks. Cancelo doesn't play, then I know it's going to be rubbish. I know it's going to be rubbish when Mendy plays and Cancelo probably comes on for like a point cameo or something. But I think it's just going to be one of those game weeks for a lot of people. And I don't think it's going to make that much difference. It's going to be a lot of people taking hits. So sometimes it's just the patient win out by doing nothing. Kane to Jesus, is it worth it? Yeah, maybe. I mean that Arsenal fixture is okay for Kane. So, but Jesus against Fulham at home, yeah. I think long term, if Jesus keeps his place, Aguero seems to have that nagging injury problem going on and on. So, like, who knows whether he's actually going to come back consistently? Yeah, I think it's an alright move. Kane and Son, Tottenham have dropped off a little bit. It's cool. Aman, thank you very much, my friend. Is Jesus for Kane good move? Yeah, as I said, exactly the same. Love you too, Nick. Got to replace one of Rodriguez or Diangana. I don't want Ward-Prowse because I already have Shea Adams. Who else would you suggest for, say, 6 to 8 million? Replace one of Rodriguez or Diangana. So you want a mid 6 to 8 million. Let's do it. Let's use the model. 6 to 8 million. You're going to go with whoever it comes out on top here. If you don't already own him. That would be... I would do so badly if I actually trusted this model like completely. Because you have to use a bit of context, I think, don't you? Right, let's move up a little bit. Who is it? I see Zaha and Mount, they're not top. Grealish, yeah, obviously. Okay. So the model is saying best mids. That's why people shouldn't be selling Grealish. Because he's great. Great attacking wise, great stats wise. So, and he's got a couple of double game weeks. Jota is encouraging that he's next. And then weirdly Zaha's been missing the last couple of game weeks. So, maybe Zaha, he could be a cheeky punt. West Brom is a great fixture. And Hodgson did confirm that he was back. And then West Ham, game week, what is it, 13? Yeah, not too bad. Other fixtures aren't great otherwise. Mason Mount is a bit of a left field pick. And Torres, strange. Maybe Zaha. I'm actually doing Bellerin and Grealish to Mahrez and Lamptey now after your advice. Yeah, that's all right. We take the -8. I take it all back. I didn't read that bit. Oh, good luck with your moves though, mate. Yeah, it could work out. Thing is, I just wouldn't sell Grealish. I just wouldn't do it. -8. Do I play Kane against Liverpool? Go with a differential forward during that week. Kane against Liverpool. When does Kane play Liverpool? Kane in. Hurricane. I am nursing this beer. I'm doing too much talking. Come on, Excel. Liverpool, okay. $11, $12, $13. Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky game week, that one, because I think... I know that's game week 12, isn't it? Man United play Man City in game week 12. Game week 13 could be a shout to move Kane on, actually, because Leicester and Wolves, they're fairly tough fixtures, aren't they? So that run of 3 could be a chance to move him on. But then you've got Fulham. So it really depends, like, whether you want to keep him really, really long term or whether you're going to target the fixtures. Because I think like Bruno Fernandes, and you've got the Liverpool guys, they've all got good fixtures. I think City do too. So it's really whether you want that money invested in Kane or you've got tough fixtures. So yeah, maybe a good time to move off, to be honest. Upgrade from Zaha to Mahrez. Well, as we just saw, like Zaha's stats were okay, and he's missed a couple of game weeks. He's got a good couple of, what was it? He's got West Brom this week. I wouldn't move him away with that great fixture. And he's got West Ham in a couple of weeks. I know they've improved defensively, but I wouldn't do Zaha to Mahrez. I think Zaha's a great pick. What do you think about Son, Vardy and Riedewald for KDB, Welbeck and Jota for a -8? You know how I feel about -8s. None of them were blanking. I would just keep them. I wouldn't do a -8, mate. Absolutely not. Like those points, -8, that's 8 points. 8 points is a lot. It's difficult when we see everyone hauling and that, but during those really tough weeks where no one's scoring or anything, -8 is a lot. So and that seems like this week is one of those weeks. So I would stay strong. Salah to KDB, game week 11. James to Jota, game week 12. Fernandes to Ziyech, game week 13. I wouldn't take Fernandes out. Salah to KDB. No, because you're going to want Salah back in for game week 12. I'd find another way to get KDB. James to Jota, yeah, I like that. But I wouldn't get rid of Salah. Will Sterling play? Yeah, maybe. I think it's very iffy. I would keep with it and just see how it goes. Best defender who doesn't play for Chelsea, Villa or City? Maybe one of the Liverpool guys, as I said earlier. I would have a look. My ranking history. I haven't played it too long. I've played fantasy for like 10 years, but it's mostly Telegraph. So the last 3 years, the first year I think it was about 185k. I was a bit gung-ho with the transfers, and then the season after that I was 63rd in the world, which was incredible. But I'm putting it down to beginner's luck. And then last season was top 50k. So I need a bit of consistency, but I mean it's not outrageous by any stretch of the imagination. So 63rd in the world is pretty good. I'm dining out on that one. Villa fan, mate. So if Wolves versus Burnley, game week 13, Villa win, I'm happy either way. Yeah. Robbo, Liverpool, yeah. Best replacements for James. I think they're the same boat. Zaha's maybe a decent pick. What do you ask before? Should I sell Son and buy Mahrez? If that's a -8 at the end, I can't be dealing with that. I wouldn't be selling Son for a -8, let's just say that. Son could easily do well against Arsenal. Ward-Prowse, as I said earlier, he scores really great goals, but I just don't think he can keep it up. Captain Son and Fernandes for me. We got to the end of the questions. I think I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. I didn't know I was hour and 20 minutes, quite a long time. That was actually really great fun. So thanks all for turning up. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for spending your Friday evening with me. I didn't think we would get 40 to 50 people watching, so that's great. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. Try and make this more a regular thing. So keep a lookout for maybe a next week stream. But yeah, other than that, I will see you next time, guys. All the best.